If you want to pass this exam for 302, you must understand Standard Form 2T because it is the heart of Post 302. Don't memorize every word, but you need to understand how the document works. Let's begin with brokers are expected to competently complete standard forms. That means you get the names right, the property description, the price, the dates, the money, all the addenda, signatures, and notice information must be completed accurately. Use full legal names. Never write owner of record. Use a proper legal description. You would never rely on a mailing address. Now for the money. You must understand the difference between the due diligence fee, which is paid directly to the seller. It's a negotiated amount for the time to decide. It is not required to have a binding agreement, but it is non-refundable unless the seller breaches the agreement. Don't confuse it with the earnest money because it's different. It's usually held in escrow by the closing attorney or one of the agents. It is also not required for a binding agreement. The test point is students confuse the due diligence fee with the earnest money. Don't do that. The due diligence fee goes directly to the seller. The earnest money is held in escrow. Now let's think about the dates. The effective date of the contract is when the last party signs or initials the current offer and acceptance is communicated to the other side or to their agent. Remember, the due diligence period begins on the effective date at contract formation and it ends at 5 p.m. on the due diligence date, and time is of the essence. So if the buyer wants to terminate the agreement during the due diligence period, the termination must be in writing and it must be delivered before that deadline. Remember, there are no financing or appraisal contingencies in Standard Form 2T. That is a big test point. Financing and appraisal issues are part of the buyer's due diligence process unless it's handled in a different way in writing. Now, fixtures and personal property. Remember, fixtures are actually listed in the contract, anything permanently attached, and generally will convey unless they're excluded. Personal property must be clearly and completely listed in the agreement if it's going to convey. Never rely on the MLS remarks or verbal promises. If it matters to your consumers, it belongs in the agreement. Repairs are another big test point. The property is sold in its current condition unless the parties agree otherwise in writing. So if repairs are negotiated after an inspection, use the correct form. You would probably use the due diligence request and agreement or the agreement to amend the contract. Do not miss this. Agreed upon repairs should be completed before settlement. Addenda matter too. Backup contract, new construction, FHA, seller financing, loan assumption, possession before or after closing, lead paint, additional provisions, owner association, vacation rental, short sale. Know the purpose of each one. The test doesn't expect you to be a forms librarian. The exam will test you to see if you understand which tool in your toolbox fits the problem at hand. This is how you pass 302.